Disclaimer: mostly everything said in this podcast is pure satire. Please do not attempt to recreate any of the topics or actions that we talk about. Thank you and enjoy the podcast. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. Welcome back to the Dumbfounded podcast. I'm joined here with my co-host Andy, Blue Reaper, and Lil Bible. Hello, guys. How you doing?
What's
Hey,
up?
how's it going?
Doing great.
We still have Hunter on his 2-week bender, but we're all back. What you guys been up to this week?
Whole lot of work, dude.
Here
Work.
and work. All right, well, working, schooling, all that fun stuff. Speaking of schools, last week we spoke on a topic of the devious lick trends. Bible, are you familiar with it?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, so there was an update since the last week, where we're seeing a lot of schools not too happy with what's been going on. We're seeing on TikTok a bunch of people listening to the morning announcements of the schools wanting to press legal charges against the students for stealing their stuff. I mean, and you're seeing the bathrooms that they're ripping out whole sinks, urinals. I don't know why you'd want to take a urinal though, even for your 5 minutes of fame on the internet.
Just for fun. You never know when you'll need it.
I watched the dude steal a whole projector.
Yeah, I think it's gone a little too far.
I saw a TikTok where the principal was offering a $500 reward to anyone who ratted out on the people that were stealing stuff.
Oh, there's a bounty on these people.
Yeah.
That is beyond hilarious. So
Hey,
there's
what would you guys do in that position though? Would you snitch or not?
fuck no.
Absolutely not. No. I wouldn't.
Alright. You guys
I mean,
follow
yeah,
it.
$500 would be nice, but I ain't snitching on the homies.
But what
Yeah.
if they're not the homies? What if it's that one annoying kid that's always been a little bit stinky?
Oh,
Well,
fuck
then
that guy.
absolutely, I'm
snitching, bro.
Fuck that guy.
If it's the stinky kid, odds are I didn't do it first.
Yeah. As long as he doesn't snitch on me doing it, we'll be all right.
Yeah, that's the thing though. It's like, man, people are stealing everything. Like, and I saw they're taking the doors down on bathrooms. Some schools are having police guard the bathrooms. Imagine, you go through the police academy and everything, and your job is, all right, you're going to be protecting a boys' bathroom today. That is your job.
It ain't much, but it's honest work. I kind
would
of
like
wish
that job.
I was still in high school so I could witness this stuff.
Yeah. So, Bible, you're still in high school. Tell us about what's going on with it. Has there been any devious licks in your bathrooms?
Bathrooms, a dude broke a toilet. Like, not the urinal, like tried to rip a toilet out. Teachers have had projectors stolen. I mean, it's a lot of small stuff. Like, they'll just walk up. The one teacher got her entire computer taken. So,
Entire
like a laptop?
or
no,
like a Mac.
Oh shit.
like a monitor and tower. Like, I don't even know how you'd fit that in a backpack, but yeah.
I
That's
mean,
crazy.
bro, it's not even a trend. It's just stealing at this point.
Yeah, people were stealing fucking ceiling tiles and shit.
Yeah, it's just taking shit from your school.
Like
What's the
stuff that,
benefit?
stuff that you can't even use at home. You're just stealing shit to steal shit.
I mean, yeah, why why would you take a urinal?
Man, gotta pee.
I mean, it's one thing when people are taking like soap dispensers, but now people are ripping out entire sinks. And I mean, the schools are pissed. They're like, we will call all your parents. And I mean, hey, I mean, the question I have for you guys is, do you think this has gone too far, or is this like a normal level for a trend?
It's just starting. Yeah, I feel like this is gonna go on for a while.
I feel like it's either gonna go on for a while or it's just gonna end very quickly and something even more atrocious and disgusting is gonna come out from this.
I feel like you might be right. I feel like this is, I mean, someone stole a whole computer. That's, like, this ain't cheap shit. Like, okay, whatever, you stole a soap dispenser. How much does a soap dispenser cost?
Like 75, 80 bucks.
Man, I saw someone yoinking all the fucking urinal cakes.
Why?
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Of all
Man
the
was
things-
hungry.
Bro, they're
Yeah.
gonna eat them shit.
It's like,
Or why call them urinal cakes if you can't eat them?
Bro, you guys think
Man, I
taking
couldn't
your
agree.
computer is a lot? Someone took a whole bus, bro. I don't even want to hear about this computer shit. Someone took a bus.
okay, but I feel like he didn't take the bus home.
He parked it in front of his house.
I feel
At
like-
least in the video. Although it's probably fake, but still funny.
I guarantee you that kid has like a dad that's a bus driver and he took the bus or something. I feel like that one's not real,
Yeah, it's still funny though.
or it's real to a degree, and then from there it's not real
I mean,
anymore. But
I feel like there's a serious chance that all these TikToks have been fake.
but I mean, the ones. How do you fake the school announcements of those saying "What the fuck"? I feel like at first it was someone took, you know. I feel like it started with something small, like, oh, one of the soap dispensers fell off the wall. I'm just gonna take it, you know.
Yeah.
And then from there, people are like, oh, this is funny, and I
And
got to
then
do
it
something
escalated.
bigger, better. Yeah, if I want to be famous, I can't be doing the same shit that everyone's already
Then
doing.
steal this dude's prosthetic leg.
Yep. And then the prosthetic leg came. Then
And the
someone
For
took
plucking.
the microscope,
the microscope.
projectors.
And microscopes are expensive, dude. That was an expensive one. I mean,
Yeah, they
I
are.
don't know if it's more expensive than a whole MacBook, but like,
I wonder if people are gonna start hitting devious links from their place of work.
I
Oh
yeah,
god,
actually
I
have
hope
seen a
not.
TikTok about that. Someone took something from their work. I forget what they took, but I remember they were like, just cop this from Jimmy John's, and they were holding something in their hand. I forget what it was though.
oh my, yeah, it's gonna go to work. It's just gonna be a worldwide just stealing trend, or at least it's worldwide. I think. I don't know if people in the UK are doing this. They're probably just looking at us and be like, stupid Americans in it.
Yeah.
I love how you went with Southern and English.
Yeah, you know. I mean, it's got to be a mix of the two.
He
You,
tried his hardest.
I tried. I tried. I said in
Oh,
it, so that immediately makes up for the southern part.
I'm gonna go back to what you said about like how much the microscopes cost because I wanted to look them up, and the one I'm finding now is the same one we use in school, and it's $323.
Yeah, but man, I thought they'd be like $50. I didn't know how much they cost.
I thought they were on the other side of $500, dude.
Some of them are. At least the ones in my school were upwards of $500.
Yeah, we can't all go to a private school like you.
And it
Yeah,
wasn't private; it was a public fucking school. All right. If you listen to the last podcast, which
Well, it's
at the
not
time
even
of
up
recording
yet.
this isn't out, but by the time people are watching this, you'll know my school lunches were banging, dude.
What was
Yeah.
your favorite school lunch? Like, what did you go to school and look forward to?
not again.
Oh
We talked
god,
about
yeah.
this last week.
We did talk about it
Uh,
last week, but I will say, man, the cheese stuffed pretzels were pretty amazing.
okay, yeah, you went to a private school if you're getting pretzels, dude. We get slop on a rock. I have the first lunch period. The fries are cold. The meat's not even cooked right. Like we have fucking last year I had a moldy chicken sandwich and I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna eat this.
All right, guys, welcome back to the school lunch podcast.
It just happens, dude. Whenever we talk about high school, the
Yeah,
school lunches
it
just
school
conjure
lunches
up.
ultimately come up. I mean, because like what is most memorable about school? The education, certainly not. For everyone, it's gym class and lunches. That is,
Recess.
and
I miss
recess. So when
recess.
you had recess, yeah,
And
I'm just recess.
all my history teachers never giving a shit about anything
yeah,
because all
yeah,
my history teachers were football coaches and all they cared about was the football program, even though our football program sucked.
dude. Our track coach was like that, and he was a science teacher. All he cared about was track.
Our football team like was leading in the nation for the
What
past 5 years.
what do you even care so much about track for? Be like, man, I hope them kids run fast this year.
Yeah. Oh my god. And they'd have to run like 5 miles if they left a javelin out. And even
Oh
if it
my
was
god.
him, even if he left something out, he'd be like, "Oh, they didn't put it away. Guess I gotta make him run."
What the fuck, dude? Fuck
That's
that
some
guy. He
sports
sounds like a
work.
dick.
What are some clubs that your school had that you feel like was unique to your school in particular?
Anime club.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. All
We
right.
had an anime club too.
We
yeah.
did. And every time they would announce it in the morning that anime club would be meeting today, everyone in the classroom immediately started laughing. And there's always one kid who looked around with a super pissed look as people laughed at anime club.
Anime is only hated because society tells you to hate it. There are some very good animes out there.
I mean,
True.
the way our clubs work was on Wednesday, like in the middle of the day, you'd go to your club because you'd pick a club every year. Um, and then like on Monday and Friday, we'd have advisory, which was a teacher that you were assigned to based on the first letter of your last name. And then I can't remember what it was called on Tuesday and Thursday, but it was a program that was there to help you through subjects that you were struggling in. So every Wednesday, I'd go to the card playing club. We never
Oh,
played cards.
the card playing club. I mean, we didn't have too many special clubs. I mean, we had a chess club. I mean, technically, powerlifting was a club. I did that for a year. But, I mean,
Say you have a very nice physique, and that's not me trying to say anything weird there. Like you look like you're built like a tank.
thank you. Thank you. I'm actually been getting back into the gym recently. I stopped going when the pandemic started because all the gyms closed. And I haven't gotten around to it until now. I just bought myself a year membership, so getting back into that.
I hope you stick to it, man.
Oh, I will. I will. But speaking of high school, I feel like everyone has the incident, you know? Something that, like, I going back to saying what was memorable in high school, you have your lunches, your gym class, that one teacher that you maybe liked or thought was hot. We all have one of those. And then there's the incident. The staple in your high school career wrapped with a silver bow. So I think we should all just say what the incident was. I will go first, of course. For us, it's just another day in my local high school, and there was a girl who had snorted cocaine in the bathrooms, allegedly off the toilet seat. Allegedly,
As you should.
as you should, right? And then they tested this cocaine because this girl, she did it with her friend, and everyone thought, oh, great, people snorted coke in the bathroom. So immediately memes were made of this girl. No one knows the other girl who actually brought the cocaine. And the other girl was like, yeah, this is cocaine. They snorted it, and then they got it tested. Turns out, no, it's just melatonin and ibuprofen. That she told the other girl was cocaine. So then the other girls started hating each other. And to top this all off, the one girl may or may not have been my girlfriend at the time.
Dang.
Yeah. So then
But
I was
the one that snorted the cocaine or brought it to school.
the one that snorted it, not the one who brought it to school.
Mm.
And it was an experience for me because I had everyone text me, "Yo, you snort?" I'm like, "No, I don't fucking snort. Never snorted shit in my life."
All right, Anthony.
But
Keep telling yourself that.
yeah,
Whatever you say.
but yeah. So then I had a lot of people saying, "Oh, you're the coke guy," and then I made a
You're
simple
the coke
post.
guy?
I made a simple post saying, "Listen, that girl and I, we kind of broke up now. Um, so I don't snort cocaine, had no involvement, and I kind of went like I became a local celebrity at that point. I became the guy who dated because everyone in the district kind of that shit makes waves. A girl snorting coke in the bathroom, so I became known as the guy who dated the coke girl, and that was my staple. And for all that, the girl got suspended for like a week, and then yeah, and then the rest of that's another story for another day. But what about you, Manny? We'll just go around. What was the incident for you?
Um, I think it was my junior year. There was this kid. I mean, he had a history of like drugs and stuff. I mean, he's a junior with me, but he had history of drug use and um like fighting people and shit. And he started the year out with a suspension. And
As you do.
I remember the day that he came back from suspension, he started a fight with somebody, and the principal and two of the assistant principals tried to stop him, and he overpowered all three of them.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, this kid was like probably 5'11", 160 something pounds, and he overpowered three principals, grown ass men,
nice, nice.
and everyone was making memes of it because my school has a subreddit.
Your school has a subreddit.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
Everyone was making memes out of it. It was hilarious, dude. Because I remember he knocked one of them over, and everyone was like, "Oh, how the mighty fall," or something like that. It was pretty funny, and everyone was talking about it for like the rest of high school.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of how it
And then
became.
and then after that, they shipped him off to Mountaineer Challenge Academy, which is where the bad children go.
Yeah, we
It's
also had
it's it's like a military camp.
yeah we had a bad children school as well, behavioral something something, and the one girl who brought it in went there, but not the girl that I dated. The girl I dated did not go in there. What about you, Mr. Reaper? What was your incident? What back? I know you didn't school, but you know the stories.
Oh yeah, I know a lot of stories actually. There's a couple. So the most recent one when I was a senior, um, some other senior, he played volleyball with me. He uh he was in the bathroom with a freshman girl, and they got caught, and he got 2 week suspension. And but that one's kind of mild. Shit like that is kind of common. Um, but when my one brother was in school, and I forget how many years ago this was, they were there was like multiple bomb threats at our school, and it was like 3 times in 1 year, and they were all fake, luckily. Um, but they were all from this one kid, and he would just leave notes around, and nobody knew who it was. But he did it 3 times before he got caught.
You know, I funny enough, there I do have a kid who did call in a couple of bomb threats. I mean, it he did with his first one in elementary school and then two in high school.
In elementary school.
Yeah, he called in a bomb threat to his elementary school, and we gave him a nickname, but I cannot say that nickname for the sake that it has his name, and I don't want to give away his name. But he got a cute little nickname from it, and he did it, I believe, to get out of a test, which he had to take the later that day anyway, because we got back into the school. But
Okay.
the one day it was so hot, this kid's phone melted. It's like he had an iPhone 5 and the phone literally melted, like the battery. It didn't work after that day because it was so hot. There was 2 or 3 people that passed out from heat exhaustion because they didn't have any water for us.
That's
We all
crazy.
we all went down to our track in our football field, and they just made us sit there for hours, which for the first 30 minutes was nice. And then came on to an hour. I'm like, all right, it's hot. I want water. And then a girl passed out. And then they're like, oh, no bomb. And they sent us. Then they had to legally feed us lunch for it to count as a school day. So then they rushed everyone in all at once to eat school lunch. And I had like half cooked mac and cheese for lunch.
Sounds good.
Man,
It,
you
it
guys got heat too.
yeah, yeah. What about you, Bible? What was your incident?
Oh god, we had, I mean, girls bringing in vodka and water bottles and falling down the stairs. One broke her leg and like it was a compound fracture. The her tibia actually came out of her shin, like it bent over and came out
Mm.
of the skin.
Mm,
People cursing out teachers. That was kind of funny.
that happened a lot at my school.
Oh yeah, there was an entire class for the people who with like the anger issues and stuff. So there was just one teacher who drove a Hellcat, by the way. So she clearly got paid well to just get cursed out by students.
As you
Uh, but
should.
but continue, yeah.
Um, I mean, people hooking up in bathrooms, vaping. There was like a big kingpin, and uh,
School had a
it's
black market, dude.
no, I'm serious, dude. There were like people that would bring like all kinds of drugs in, sell them Xans, Molly, acid, weed, vapes,
Nice. Yeah.
and the one principal finally figured out who was doing it, and whenever they went to question him, it ended up like he was selling to the principal's son, and that all came out, and the principal ended up, I don't know if he retired or transferred, but he was like gone after that. Like his kid withdrew from the school, the principal left, and then everybody just thought, they fired him because of his kid having drugs in school and stuff.
Nice. Nice.
It was great.
I've walked in on my fair share of drug deals, but by far a situation that I had is I went to take a piss during school lunch, and there's this they gather in front of the handicap stall because there used to be a table to put your books, which they had to take out. But I just turned 18, and at the time when I turned 18, you could buy vapes at 18. So I went and I took a piss, and I'm sitting there pissing, and I feel like someone's watching me. So I kind of look over my shoulder, and I see all the freshmen have gathered behind me in a horde, practically breathing down my neck while I'm pissing, mind you. So I finish up, I zip up my pants, and I turn around, and one's right in my face, and I'm like, "Can I help you?" He's like, "You're 18, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm 18." And he goes, "Can you buy us vapes?" I'm like, "What? No, I'm not gonna buy you vapes." And they're like, "We'll pay you." I'm like, "I don't even know who you are." Like this is a setup if I've ever seen one, but like, and then they're just sitting there, and I'm like, "Dude, I just pissed. Like I want to wash my hands, get back to my lunch." And they're like, "Dude, just buy for us, buy for us." I'm like, "Bro, why? I was pissing." But as far as like the sex goes, we had a sex staircase, it was called. There was the sex stairs.
Dang.
It was the stairs all the way at the end of the language wing, and no one ever used it. There was no camera in it. And then yeah, that's where the people would go to take care of business during school hours because no one ever used the stairs. I mean, it was mostly making out. I went and used the stairs a few times. Not for that, but to actually use the stairs for their proper purpose.
Is that right, Anthony?
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Smoke cap.
Yes. But I mean, every time I go through there would be a couple making out, and eventually they did put a camera in there, because I'm sure one of the helper teachers went to go down those stairs, and then saw that. But also backstage of our auditorium, there was a couch that was used as a set for one of the plays. And I swear to God, if you took a blue light to that thing, you'd be disgusted. That's where all the band kids took care of business.
The band kids.
The
You would
band,
find
dude.
ghost fingerprints on it.
Yeah, it'd be like a goddamn game of Phasmophobia down there.
Great game.
Wonderful game. Should all play it
I know.
sometimes.
I
Oh,
know
no.
an incident that happened the year after I graduated. One of the science teachers was recorded calling this girl the N-word.
Oh god, I got called a cracker by my one teacher.
Nice. Nice. I mean, I can't say I've had too much experience with that. I mean, my dad called a teacher a schmuck one time.
Like, it's plain as day, dude. He's like, you blank don't get good grades in my class.
Wow.
Wow.
That's rude.
Like a white teacher said this?
Yeah,
Did
and
not
as
be a
far
teacher.
and
Did he get
as far as I know, he's still employed there.
still employed?
There's a teacher that's still employed at the school that I went to, and he used to turn the thermostat all the way down, so it'd be super cold, so that the girls' nipples would show through their shirts. And then he would go up and he would like rub their shoulders and shit. And I'm pretty sure he's still employed there.
Yo, save these girls. Oh my god.
For real.
I mean, when I was in fourth grade, there's these two teachers that always had this awkward sexual tension, and their rooms were right next to each other, and it's like everyone's like, "Bro, they're fucking." Fourth grade, me sitting there being like, "They're dating, right?" And then everyone's like, "No, they're both married." I'm like, "Oh,
But not to each other.
not to each other, no." They
I
were
had this.
just go ahead.
Go, bro. Nah, go ahead. I'll say it after you're done.
No, I was pretty much done. Go.
Okay. So in elementary school, our one tech teacher was like an old creep, and I don't know if you ever played sandwich stacker was our tech teacher. I don't know if I specified that. But basically, it's Stitch from Lilo and Stitch, and you would like try to make a sandwich, and if you got enough points, he'd give you like a Tootsie Roll, and he'd just walk around and give random kids like shoulder rubs and stuff, and say how handsome they were, and it was just very uncomfortable. Even at that young of an age, I was like in first grade. I knew something was wrong in there.
That's yeah. What is with the teachers and if you're a male teacher out there, don't rub the girls' shoulders. Just
It
don't.
wasn't the girls;
Keep your
it
hands
was
to
the
yourself,
boys.
bro.
Or the boys. Don't rub shoulders.
Keep your hands to yourself, bro.
Yeah,
Keep it at a nice level so that everybody's comfortable.
yeah. Don't rub people's shoulders because odds are a lot of people, especially if it's a teacher, they're a little awkward and they're not gonna just be like, don't touch me. That makes me uncomfortable. I certainly know people that will just go off on you if you do something they don't like. But there's a lot of people that will just end up staying quiet about it and being like, okay, I don't like this. This is weird. It's like, did you guys ever have a class that you dreaded going to?
Yes.
For us,
Not not really.
it was always biology. Biology by far had the highest failure rate in our school for classes, and the teachers thrived on knowing that. They were so proud that they failed more students than any other class. And they're like, "Oh yeah, this is the most failed class." I'm like, "Why are you proud of that? Like, do you think that means that this is the hardest class, or maybe, just maybe, that means you're a bad teacher?" You know? It's like you think, another thing, my friend and we ran a meme page.
Oh
Um,
no.
yeah, it was a rough time. Um, a meme page, and there was this article written about a guy with the same name and our teacher. And by the way, my high school, if you're listening to this, no, you're not. This is not an admission to guilt. Um, but he had allegedly beat his wife. Allegedly, again.
Allegedly.
So the guy had allegedly beat his wife. At the time, we didn't know that the article was just some guy with the same name in the same town as us. So I made the meme of the iCarly meme of, "Hey, what you got there?" And it was our superintendent's name. Then it was the teacher and the ostrich saying beating his wife, and it was a
Jesus.
smoothie. Yeah, it was one of those, and it was funny. And we had other stuff like I photoshopped my one teacher's face onto Arthur Morgan from Red Dead because this guy would take up an entire class period talking about what he did on Red Dead that day when it first came out.
Good man.
He was a good man. He was one of my favorite teachers. But um yeah, so my friend who had revealed his identity, I didn't want to be known as the cause just in case for this reason exactly, but he got called down to the office and they're like, "So we found this. Yeah, the guy that you said beat his wife didn't, by the way. And this is defamation of character. And if he wants to, he will be pressing charges against you." And the whole time I'm sitting here shitting bricks like, bro, is my homie gonna hold out and take the rap for me? Or if he's gonna sell me out? I wouldn't blame him if he sold me out at that point. If you're looking at defamation of character charges. But he didn't. He didn't rat me out. He's a real one. Won't say his name, but thank you, sir.
He's doing
And
well.
yeah, he's doing well because the teacher didn't want to press charges, so he just got a 2-day suspension. And that's how it worked. Is with all the meme pages, it was not successful. It was successful for the time being. It was funny, people liked it, but it only lasted a couple weeks because of that, which I guess I should have known that was too far. But high school means like, too far equals funny. And the more people that see this and laugh at this, I don't know. I just thought it was fun. We thought it was fun to upload memes, make people laugh, and it went too far. That's it. What about you, Mr. Reaper? Why don't you tell us another story of from the high school days?
I mean, one that I was personally involved with, um, was so I was at volleyball practice. I was 1B, and one of the kids on my team was telling me and another guy about how there was going to be a fight at the football game that night, and apparently, allegedly, there was going to be a gun involved. And so like I was talking to this girl that I liked at the time, and she asked me to go to the football game with her. And my after my mom found out, my mom was like, "You're not going." I was like, "Whatever." So I was like, "There's no point in arguing it." So I was like telling her that I couldn't go and why, and then her friend saw her text me and saw the text, and then told a teacher. So then I got called into the office, and like they were like, "Did this happen? Who told you?" And I was trying so hard to hold out, but then they were like, "Well, some serious stuff can happen." And I was like, and then I saw the kid in the office that told me afterwards, and like we talked and stuff, and like I didn't really put any names out. I just said that I overheard it,
Yeah.
and because I ain't gonna snitch. I ain't gonna put no names out. And but I was like, I overheard this, and I was just telling this girl about it, and they're like, "Oh, okay," and then they let me go. And I don't know what ended up happening. I don't think anybody got in trouble because there was another kid from another school that was playing against us that was bringing it, not one of us from my school.
Okay.
Um, it was just supposed to be like a fist fight, and then there was like threats of like knives and guns and stuff are going to be brought, and it was just a whole sketchy scenario.
I
They
mean,
had to bring a cop and everything, questioning me. I was like, oh. And this was my freshman year, by the way. So like you can imagine I was sitting there like shaking, I was sweating, I was like, oh shit, I'm
yeah.
gonna go to jail.
Yeah, no, it was what was scary for me was this kid had a lighter on the bus and he'd burn the back of the seats and he'd burn some girl's ID. He said, "Hey, give this back to her on your way off at my stop." And I gave it to her, and her sister, her older sister, had seen the whole thing. So I gave it to her, and she's like, "Who did that?" I'm not snitching. I don't know. But her older sister went to the office and said this kid did it, and this kid was jacked, man. Like some kid pulled a little prank where he pulled out the chair from underneath him, and he fell. So the kid got back up, punched the kid in the head once, and the kid needed 7 staples in the back of his head. So this wasn't the guy you wanted to mess with.
Oh, but what a wicked scar to have, though.
No, yeah, yeah. What a wicked scar! Oh, I needed seven staples in the back of my head from a single punch, and
Oh, back of your head? Damn,
yeah,
you
it
cheap
was
shot him.
well, he cheap shot him when he pulled his chair. I'm not
But that's
saying
like a prank, man. I've had that happen to me. You get up and you laugh about it, like,
yeah, but this wasn't the kid that laughs about that kind of shit. He was
man got a
pissed,
bad home life.
and man was pissed. Yeah, man was pissed. So he immediately, when he got called down to the office for having a lighter and shit, was like, okay, I did it obviously because he handed me the ID, so he thought I told on him, and immediately he told my best friend at the time, "Yo, I stayed home from school the next day because I just didn't feel like going. I faked being sick." And he's like, "I'm gonna punch this kid in the face tomorrow when I see him. I'm gonna punch him in the face." And my best friend had talked him down a little bit, but he's still like, "Fine, I won't punch him in the face, but I'm punching him right in the fucking stomach." So immediately this kid's like, "You're getting beat up, basically." And when I found out about this, I was shitting bricks. I'd never lifted a day in my life. I'd never been in a fight at the time, so I was scared. And my best friend's like, "Yo, just let me get on the bus first." So he got on the bus first, and then I get called down to the office immediately, first period. And they're like, "Did you see this?" And I'm like, no, I was sick, so I didn't feel well, so I slept the entire way home on the bus." And the principal's like, "That makes sense. You were out the next day, so that adds up." I'm like, "Yeah, exactly. All right, go back to class." I go back to class. The kid finds me. I'm like, "Listen, dude, I didn't tell anyone. I swear to God, I did not tell anyone. They just called me in the office." This is why I said, he goes, "Bro, just walk away. Just walk away right now. I'm like, okay, fine. You win. You win. I was scared, bro. Because, like I said, I didn't want staples in my head. And then they called me down again. And they're like, so you told us you slept the entire way? I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, we got the footage from the bus and we see you guys. I'm like, well, fuck. At this point, I'm like, listen, I really don't want to say what I saw. That's what I told them is I don't want to say what I saw. And they're like, why? Are you scared of him? I'm like, I'm not saying anything. All right, you can suspend me if you want. I ain't telling. I ain't telling. It ain't worth it. They're like, okay, I guess. So I didn't even get in any trouble for it, but that kid had to sit on the front of the bus. And for the rest of my freshman year, I kind of shat my pants every day getting on that bus. Because I don't think he ever believed that I didn't tell on him. Even when the girl had come forward and be like, no, it was literally me who told the office. All for a school ID. All that drama.
While we're on
What?
the topic of head injuries, I was at work a couple months back and I split like my skull open with a nail puller trying to pull one out. And no, because I like that staple thing really made me think about it. I'm up here like feeling the side of my head. I can still feel the scar. That's pretty cool. Um, I got a picture where like my entire left side of my face is covered in blood from where it was like dripping down and stuff. My mom was like, "Yo, we got to get you to the ER now." And I'm like, "Hold up, I gotta get a picture."
You know what?
Hold on, Mom. I gotta take a pic for the gram real quick.
No, I'm serious, man.
Let
It
me
was
tell you.
great.
Let me tell you that when your face bleeds, it bleeds a lot. I actually have a scar that's through this eyebrow, but luckily my eyebrow kind of grew over it. But I had just taken a shower and I look outside. I'm like, ah, shit, I forgot a towel. So you do your little air dry dance, and I'm like, let me go, let me go clean this shit up. So I grab a towel, and I go to dry the floor, and I slip on the shower water because I had just jumped around and leaked water everywhere. And as I fell, I whacked my head off the side of the tub, and I knocked myself clean out for like 20 seconds. So I wake up 20 seconds later, and I'm like, ow, damn. Anyway, I go to clean this up, and I hear drip, drip, drip. I'm like, what the hell is that? And I look down, and I see a puddle of blood there, and I like wipe my hand down the side of my face, more blood. And I'm like, well, this isn't good. So I go and I look in the mirror and I kind of go like this to see, and I pull apart a very deep gash from like here to here. It was only like a quarter inch. So I'm like, well, so I walk out into the hallway, hand over hand, trying to catch the blood. Because I don't know why. In my mind, I just didn't want to make a mess.
Man,
So
you just grab a towel from the bathroom.
I didn't, dude. I wasn't thinking straight. My mom would kill me if I ruined a white towel. You know.
Okay, that's true.
So
You
I'm
just got
sitting there.
Mike Tyson to worried about the blood dripping.
That's exactly what it was. And I walk out, I'm like, hey, mom, I need some help. And it's a floor and a half. So she came out and she was drinking wine with her friend. And she starts screaming, oh my God. And she runs upstairs and I'm stumbling because I've lost so much, that amount of blood at this point where I'm lightheaded. And she grabs me by the hand and starts pulling me. I'm like, mom, you're going to spill the blood. And she goes, I don't give a fuck about the blood. And she starts screaming for her husband who works early. So he's already asleep. She's like, your son's bleeding out of his head. He needs to go to the ER now. And everyone's screaming and freaking out. My little sister's just like, you're gonna be okay. And I'm like, thank you for remaining calm, one of you. And then my dad comes running out because he heard I'm bleeding and I need to go to the hospital. He's like, and he sees me. He's like, oh, that's it. And I'm like, okay, let me get some shoes on. And
Gamer moment.
and then I'm sitting there and I'm like, I just have this urge where I feel I'm gonna throw up. And in that moment, I'm like, I'm gonna throw up. I'm gonna throw up. Get me the fucking trash can right now. I'm going to throw up. And luckily, I didn't. But I felt like it. And I guess that's a common thing with head injuries is to feel like you're gonna throw up.
Mm-hmm.
But then I get in my dad's car and we start driving. At this point, I have like 5 gauze pads on my head. Because luckily, I know what to do. And we had a first aid kit. So I get to the hospital. And my dad takes me in on one of the little wheelchairs. And then I swear this nurse was like convinced that my dad beat me. She's like, do you feel safe with everyone in the room? I'm like, yep. She's like, do you want your dad to leave to answer the question? I'm like, no. Are you sure? I'm like, yes, I wasn't fucking beaten, you know? And eventually they got me in, and I needed 2 dissolvable stitches inside my head and 7 right across the front. At which, again, it lined up with my eyebrow, which they had to shave half my eyebrow to stitch. And so when I went back to school, it looked like the stitches kind of blended in with the color of my eyebrow, so not a lot of people noticed at first. And then I had a concussion, which was fun. They made me do physical therapy, which was like, oh, cover your eye and read this, or cover your other eye and read this. But yeah, and then my mom was freaking out as she cleaned up the huge puddle of blood. So I got a scar and a concussion from a bathtub. What about you fellows? Me and Bob have already spoken about times we've been injured. Have you guys ever been seriously injured?
Oh, a lot of times.
Give us one of them stories.
Uh, so when I was like 13, 14, I used to live on a farm, and we raised like cows and goats and chickens and pigs and sheep, like almost every farm animal you can imagine. And so I was shearing goat hooves one day, and they had a cover on them. I was done shearing the one goat hooves, and I had to go milk another goat and trim her hooves while I was at it. So I put the cover over the blades, and put them in my back pocket because I was like, oh, I don't want to be like swinging my arms when I'm walking or something and clip them and cut my arm. Well, the cover fell off, and I went to go sit down so that I could milk the goat, and actually sliced up my forearm, like a really nasty
Mm.
gash, and it's pretty long. Uh, but funny enough, it didn't really bleed a whole lot, and I'm
Right.
very thankful that the shears weren't dull, or else it would have hurt a lot more than what it did.
Oh hell yeah. Or they're nice and rusty too.
Oh no, they were brand new. I was like so excited. I was like, oh, finally, like they have a cover. Like none of this will happen because I've nicked myself before. Never like cut myself, but like
Right.
nicked myself like trying to do stuff. And I was like, well, at least the cover will be there. And then the cover wasn't there. And it was just a stupid accident that shouldn't have even happened. I shouldn't even have it in my back pocket, but things happen. I'm still
Hey.
here. So
And did you need any stitches for that?
no, I refuse to go to the hospital. So now I just have this nasty wide gash on my arm, but it's scarred over and it looks pretty cool. I'm thinking about getting a tattoo like around it to implement it somewhere.
A lot of people like to do that. Yeah. I mean, the worst injury I've ever experienced, it wasn't even to me. But when we were 13, 14, my friends and I were just climbing on my friend's trailer that had cinder blocks on it. And my one friend had fallen off and he cut his ankle. And he had cut his ankle to the point where he was a like zero point 0.2 centimeters away from slicing open his Achilles heel.
Oh,
So
he
you
would not be walking again.
no, he wouldn't have. That shit would have coiled up into his all the way up to his knee. So he was. So we're sitting there, 14-year-old. He falls, and we see his leg is gushing blood, and so we all freak out, and he's on crutches for a while. But he was very very close to not being able to walk again, and it was bad, dude. It was deep because it came in
Man,
from the side.
man gets folded by a cinder block.
Yeah.
I haven't had any really bad cuts, and should have only ever broken 2 bones.
That's
how'd you?
pretty serious though.
Yeah, how'd you break a bone?
Well, the first one wasn't my fault. I wasn't even conscious. The doctor broke my collarbone when he was pulling me out when I was born.
Okay, well I can't say that's your fault. Yeah.
Good
And then the
doctor.
second one, I fractured the growth plate in my left ankle.
How'd you do that?
This was after my mom and dad split, and I was helping my dad move out of his girlfriend at the time, her house, because they got the house that we're in now. Um, and I stepped out the door, and I was carrying a half box that had canned food in it. And I stepped out the door, and it has like a drop that's probably like that far from the door to the porch. And I just stepped on my ankle sideways, and coming off that step, I put all my weight onto it. I'm a big guy, like 300 pounds,
Yeah.
and it it fractured. And I was like, man, that kind of doesn't feel good. I'm like, they're like, oh, you just sprained your ankle. You'll be all right in a couple days. Couple days roll around, I'm still walking on this thing. Still hurts, still swollen. And I'm like, went back to my mom's house because I was still in school at the time. I was like, Mom, this shit fucking hurts. And she's like, all right, we'll go to the hospital. So we went up to the hospital and we got it X-rayed. And after we got it X-rayed, they're like, nah, you're fine. You can go home. Nothing's wrong with it. So we go home and we're there for like 3 hours. And the hospital calls and they're like, yeah, it's fractured. You need to come back so we can put a cast on it.
Oh, nice.
How
So
did they
they
miss
So
that though?
yeah, I don't know how they missed it, but like a growth plate is a fractured growth plate is a pretty serious injury because if you keep walking on it and it heals on its own, the leg where the fractured growth plate is could actually get shorter than the other one.
yeah, that's a serious injury, and the fact that they
So
missed that is scary.
so you could just be hobbling along.
Yeah, yeah, you could have become a hobbler. I mean, the only bone I've ever broken was my foot, and I was in between games. And I'm like, I want a drink of water, so I ran downstairs, didn't turn any of the lights on, poured water, came back upstairs, and I kicked our piano. And with kicking the piano, fractured where my toe and my foot meet.
Ooh.
So I wake up. I'm like, oh damn, I broke my toe, and I went to go do that, and I grabbed the side of my foot, and as I grabbed it, I felt it click,
Mm.
and
Yup.
it hurt so bad. A sharp pain shot all the way up my leg, and it was just not fun. So I went to the hospital, and I got myself a nice little boot, because like a broken toe, they could do nothing about. You know, they're gonna be like, well, we'll tape it.
Yeah, I kind of had like the same thing when I got the cast for my growth plate. Like it was down, like it stopped at my toes and it went all the way up to my knee. It was the most uncomfortable thing I ever had to endure in my entire life. And I was out of school for a couple days after it happened because I wasn't coordinated enough to use crutches yet. But the day I went back to school, I was using my crutches to the hallway and someone kicked one of them out from underneath me and I fell over. And then I was out of school for a month because I didn't want to go back.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is wonderful. The fact that they had kicked out your crutch is nice. So, what about you, Bible? Besides the fact of you, blowing your own face out, have you ever been seriously injured?
I wrecked the quad whenever I was like 10, and I'm not sure if I fractured it or just bruised the bone, but I ended up hitting into a tree and like speared it and messed up the right side of my collarbone.
You, you
But
know, I'd say
other than that, not much.
you kind of got lucky with that. I know a kid who hit a tree, um, with a quad as a kid, and he got like he went through a coma for a couple weeks, and then when he came out, he's partially paralyzed, and he still is in one of his hands. So
Damn.
I'd say besides the fractured collarbone, you got lucky. Wear your helmet, kids. Let that be a lesson.
Isn't that the truth? If it wouldn't have been for the helmet, it would have been a head-on collision. The tree hit the side of my head and rolled off into my shoulder.
Yeah, because I believe the kid wasn't wearing a helmet that had gotten paralyzed.
Yeah, always wear your helmet.
Like I don't care how gangster you think you are. Head injuries, spinal cord injuries happen all the time, and there's no reason for it if it can be prevented
Hmm.
by just the smallest thing of a helmet.
Yeah, real gangsters wear their helmets.
I mean, I wrecked a quad when I was 10 or 11 as well, and I was going. There was this turn, and it was like one of the angled turns that's supposed to help you turn that way.
Yeah.
And what happened was I was going so fast that I didn't turn. I just went over this turn and into a split rail fence and fell off the quad. And like one of the lens fell out of my glasses and I was like covered in dirt. So what happened was I went back to the camp that I was at and my granddad was there. And he's like, "What happened?" And I was like, "Nothing happened." "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I know something happened because you're, first off, you're crying, you're missing the lens out of your glasses, and you're covered in dirt."
I'm fine. Nothing
I was
happened.
like, "Nothing happened, dude."
I think wrecking your motorized vehicle at a very young age is like a rite of passage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We've all done it, yeah.
yeah, I was with my dad. I was riding on the front, and he's like, "All right, just pull the gas." So I pulled it all the way right off the bat. And that was a powerful quad. So we basically did a full wheelie, started going forward, and before my dad's like, "Yo, hit the fucking brakes," he had started to fall off. So he grabbed me, threw me, and somehow in the air caught me, and I landed on his stomach. Like this man was like did some Ninja Warrior shit.
Dad
It's
He
is
had
those
going
to,
bad
God mode.
mistakes.
Ultra instinct.
dude. The man really went like God mode. This man activated bullet time, and then the first thing he says is, "Don't tell your mother that happened." I don't think she knows it happened to this day, because she would have made my dad get rid of the quad right then.
While we're on the topic of quads, I just want to point out how important it is to always ride one properly
Yes.
and have proper safety equipment because those things are not to be fucked with, dude.
Now, any motorized vehicle, exactly. Quads, motorcycles, wear your helmet. Even if it's not
What
required by state, you
one
should.
of one of my uncles, this was a couple years ago. He wasn't riding his quad correctly. Like he wasn't straddling it. He had both his legs off to one side of it, just to the side where the shifter was.
Yeah.
And he was going up this hill, and what happened was the hill was so steep the four-wheeler rolled back on top of him, and he like broke his back, and he had to get metal rods put in his back and everything.
Yeah, man. That's it's it. Those things are pretty serious,
Hmm.
and they could fuck you up.
If we ever get on the topic of injuries for this, maybe in like a later podcast, I'll have my stepdad come on. He was in some very serious injuries whenever he was younger. I'll just bring up a quick one. Whenever he was like 18, 19, he had a dirt bike. He was living in out right outside of Flagstaff, Arizona, and he was flying down an old dirt road, hit a boulder, landed in a tree, fractured his face, his orbital bone, his cheek, like his cheekbone, his skull, broke his neck, crushed his spine, crushed his discs, and dude is still walking. I mean, he has neck pain to this day,
That's
but the
crazy.
fact that he's alive is
Yeah,
just
that is.
insane.
That's
His
crazy.
helmet shattered, and that's literally what the doctor said saved his life.
Again, it all comes back. Wear your helmet.
Wear your safety gear.
Hmm.
It might just save your life.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. I don't care how strong you are. You ain't stronger than hitting a tree at 20, 30 miles an hour.
Exactly.
That's what it all comes down to. On the topic of loss, we have this week we lost a very important staple in the gaming community, something that I feel like made us all want to make those cringy YouTube channels at the age of 12. Um, Unfortunately, Basherverse has passed away due to complications of COVID-19.
Gone too soon, dude.
Indeed,
Yeah,
gone too soon.
him and his father both got COVID. And actually, August 7th is when they both got COVID. His dad had it, and then his dad gave it to him. And then on top of Basher or Brandon having COVID, he on August 15th said he had COVID and pneumonia at the same time. And his statement on that was that it was just pure hell. Um, his last tweet was August 26th, and he actually posted pictures, and he had a video of him speaking, but I did not actually see that one. But he actually passed away, I believe, August 12th. I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah. May he rest in peace. I mean,
Eh,
Can we just get like a moment of silence for one of our
yeah,
fallen men here?
yeah. Let's give 10 seconds of silence. Okay, so yes, it was a very unfortunate loss. I mean, I know I had made a YouTube channel at age 12, uploaded like 5 videos before realizing, oh my god, this
Hmm.
is disgustingly cringe, and it was because of that entire group. The Sky Does Minecraft Basher
Mm.
had all. So I feel like all of us had that phase where we made a YouTube channel, or wanted to at least.
That was
And
just like an entire generation's childhood. Was
it
those
it
guys?
was, it was, and it's very, very sad to see. And unfortunately, that's how it works. Just another
Just
person
the way
dead,
things go, man.
another person dead from this awful, awful virus. Hope this goes away soon.
Yeah.
Not very confident that it will, but I mean, I
It
hope.
ain't looking too hot, bro.
No,
Not at all.
unfortunately, but I'm sure no one wants to hear about COVID any more than the rest of us. So we're just gonna move on because I feel like the last year has been flooded with just that. It said that shall not be spoken of, if you will. Uh,
Mhm.
Andy, why don't you tell us about what's going on with Battlefield?
Battlefield 2042 was recently delayed. I don't think it was delayed by a lot. I didn't even recall what the original release date was, but um it got pushed back to I think November 19th.
I believe it was going to be October 29th it was going to release.
Yeah, they didn't push it back by much, about 20 or so days, but it still got pushed back nonetheless.
You know, I feel like that's almost become the normal, games getting delayed.
Mhm.
I mean, again, probably again with these trying times and people working from home, it's
Yeah.
it's inevitable in some cases. But I mean, even before that, games were just getting delayed and delayed and delayed. So what do you fellas think about all these games getting delayed and stuff?
I'm all right with them being delayed as long as it's a decent game, you know. I
Yeah,
mean,
Don't
if they delay it just to release some garbage,
Cyberpunk.
right?
Yeah, honestly.
But I mean,
Cyberpunk.
if they delay it and it's a decent game, then that's fine. I mean, as long as they're taking the time that they've delayed it to improve what's currently wrong with the game instead of releasing a broken version, that's
Exactly.
cool. I mean, take the time that you need to release a finished product and not something that's
Yeah.
still terrible like Cyberpunk.
Yeah, exactly.
Cyberpunk was a big letdown. Everybody got so excited for it, and then they just kind of, it was just awful. There's so many bugs and glitches, and they still delayed it. Like,
And I believe most of the bugs and glitches are fixed now, but it's too late. You know, the damage has
Yeah.
been done. It was unplayable on last gen. I mean, not that I played on last gen, but I had a friend who got it on Xbox One and he couldn't play it. And I believe they actually on PlayStation took it off of the store for PS4 and refunded everyone.
Hmm.
It was that awful of a launch. Honestly, what I could think of, probably one of the worst launches in gaming history recently. Just it
Probably the
didn't.
worst gaming launch since No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky was another mess.
No
Didn't that
Man's
get
Sky was a huge
remastered?
letdown.
Didn't they do something with
No,
that, or they're going
No
to?
Man, No Man's Sky has gotten a lot of huge updates, and now it's to the point where they said it was going to be when it launched. It's kind of in the same situation as Cyberpunk.
Where it's too little, too late.
Yeah, they updated after it was too late, dude. Everyone was so disappointed with your game when it launched because everyone was under the impression that you were going to be able to travel between planets and meet up with your friends and stuff. But when No Man's Sky launched, it was a single player game.
Yeah,
Even though they were advertising it as this massive multiplayer open world.
open universe.
Yeah. And whenever it launched, it was a single player game.
that's kind
But
of
like
what
I
I fear with Hogwarts Legacy. Sorry to cut you off. Is they're labeling it like it's a big open world MMORP, but without the multiplayer, and there's
it's just an RPG.
yeah, it's but they're labeling it as an MMORP when it's not. And it's supposed to be this big open world concept. You can go around and go through the woods and stuff, and but it's just single player. And I don't know if they are even releasing a multiplayer for it. I hope they do. Being a wizard with your friends sounds fun as shit, but I honestly don't look for them to release it as a multiplayer game.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like multiplayer has become the new norm. Where like, I mean, I can't think of like a really good single player game that's released like everyone wants multiplayer. Obviously, you do have good single player games. Red Dead
Fallout New
Redemption
Vegas.
2,
Fallout New Vegas. If you don't add that to the list,
Fallout New
Yeah,
Vegas,
Fallout.
obviously one of the, but that
I
was
mean,
back.
Fallout 4 was good. Fallout 3 was good.
Fallout
Spider-Man
4 was decent.
Spider-Man PS4 was a very
Yeah,
successful
Spider-Man.
single player only game. But I feel like a lot of people are just looking for multiplayer now.
Mhm.
And
I
Fallout
think
New
games
Vegas
are
was
taking over.
released in the single player era. And
Is
Fallout
open worlds multiplayer
Outer Worlds,
or Outer Worlds? Yeah.
I believe it is. I believe, honestly, and this might be a hot take, but I think Outer Worlds did it better than Fallout 76.
Fallout 76 was
That's probably
garbage.
true.
Fallout 76 was a mess.
I always have a
Another
soft
big
spot for
letdown.
76.
Of course
I
you
never
would, because West Virginia.
Yeah. There aren't many games that are set here.
No, there's not, and clearly for good reason.
Hey,
What's up,
don't you
motherfucker?
start talking shit about the Appalachian wilderness.
What's up, motherfucker?
I mean, hey, what games do you know that are set in Pennsylvania?
Hey, fuck you.
Isn't a
I,
portion of Fallout 3 in Philadelphia?
I have no
maybe.
idea. I haven't
I
played through 3 yet.
feel like you can make a pretty good open world game in Philly.
Just
What, you
get
just
shot
stepped
by
on a heroin
gangs.
needle?
Yeah, cut that.
Tell me one positive thing about
Make
Philadelphia.
make a game about Hitchbot.
Listen, if it's in Philly, you can make a good true crime game, open world.
You'll get a Philly cheesesteak and you get shot in the street.
Oh,
That has to
Jesus.
be. There's something wrong with that. There has to be. There has to be some kind of like negativity that I can add into that.
There's no way that Philly isn't the worst city to live in. I don't know what the crime rate is there,
Pretty
but it's not
close.
good. It's
Very
not
high.
good.
Let me Google this real quick.
Yeah, I wouldn't want
Yeah.
to live in Chicago either.
Chicago, Detroit.
I used to live near there.
Yeah, I have a friend who lives close to Detroit, and he says even his local park, which is an hour away from Detroit, is a lot of gangs meet there. Someone shit on a lunch table there. I don't
So
think
the
that was
crime rate
related
of
to the
Philly-
gangs.
Is that what the gangs do now?
Yeah, they shit on tables. That's how they mark
Oh, yeah.
territory. So what's the
I
what's the
wouldn't.
crime rate?
The crime rate is 38 per 1,000 residents, and it's out of the murder rate, it's top 10.
It is a top 10. It is a top 10 murder rate city. Now look up because I feel like Detroit's the worst one. Look up Detroit.
I think it's Chicago, if I'm not.
I'd say
wrong.
Chicago is probably
You
worse.
think Chicago's worse than Detroit?
I'd say Chicago is probably worse.
All right, we'll look up Chicago then.
All right, so Detroit is holy hell, 2007 incidents per 100,000 people. That's
Not even
incredibly
close.
Let me try Chicago here.
Man, making Philly sound really good right now.
You got to think that's 2,000 out of every 100,000 though. So out of
Yeah.
then you have 38 per one.
That can be simplified.
Yeah,
Man,
that
I
some
don't even know that.
That's roughly 1,000 something per 50,000 people.
Oh my god, dude. They don't even give you Philly statistics. They give you the statistics. They don't give you a number. The crime rate is 1 in 33
1 in 30 in Detroit.
in Chicago.
In the Chicago, it's 1 in 33.
So there's one instance of crime per 33 people in Chicago.
Yeah.
That was like one crime per classroom in my high school, dude.
I was
That's a
thinking
lot.
the exact same thing.
That's exactly. Well,
What's
if you're
gotta
listening to this
population
higher.
and you're doing crimes in those cities,
Stop it.
Stop it. No more crimes.
No
That's
more.
the thing,
All
dude.
done. You're all done now.
You can say, yeah, no more crimes. You can say that, but there's an entire generation, especially in children, where let's say they have less than desirable home lives, and so they start running with their friends. Their friends end up, oh, we need money. Let's
Yeah,
go
it's
resort to older
that
people, and they teach them crime.
at 1 per 33 in Chicago means that they have 82,000 instances of crime per their
wow.
entire population.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
that's bad. And I yeah, I like Bible said it, where it's not, it's just how it goes, unfortunately. But anyway, I believe that is all we have time for today. Ending off the podcast strong, talking about city crime rates. In conclusion, rest in peace. Rest in peace. Um, girl who snorted coke in high school. If you're seeing this, hi, how you doing? Been a while. Thank you again, Lil Bible, for joining us in our time
Absolutely.
of
Thanks
need,
for having me on.
and I hope to see you on this podcast again sometime soon. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe, comment down below something. We read all the comments, really. We do. One of us will. So that's the podcast for today. Everyone say your goodbyes.
Later.
See you guys.
See ya.